Hey there folks, how you doing today? Hope all is going well for you. We're going to have a little bit of fun here today. We're going to have a discussion that involves some recent events, and we're going to discuss the elephant in the room, which is this big ugly target with terrible shot placement here behind me on the wall. As most of us are aware of, back in July of this year, there was a active shooter incident at a mall in Indiana that was neutralized by one good guy with a gun, and he did that from a distance that it's been disputed, somewhere between 30 and 40 yards. He fired 10 shots in about 15 seconds, hitting the suspect 8 times, neutralizing the threat and saving countless lives. And we commend him for that. We thank him for it. It's brought up a lot of discussion in the interweb world concerning the Dicken Drill. The kid's name was Eli Dicken that performed the heroic act, and so those that have been doing the drill have been calling it the Dicken Drill, not the Dickens Drill, but rather the Dicken Drill after Eli Dicken. So that's where that term comes from. And the various versions of the drill that I've seen people do on the internet all involve shooting from either a distance of 40 yards or starting at 40 yards and closing in. And I'm not sure, I wasn't there, I don't know how it happened in real life, but for the purpose of what we did, we went down to the local gun range, we set our target up as far as they would allow us to set it up at on the pistol range, which was about 30 yards from the shooting bench, and then in an effort to increase that distance, we shot across range a little bit. So we were at more than 30 yards, we were at less than 40 yards, and that's what we had to work with for this exercise. Now, with that in mind, folks, I can already hear there's a couple of you, I know who you are, you're banging away saying I did it wrong. This was nothing official. This is just an informal exercise to try to get people thinking about whether or not their choice of carry weapon is actually adequate for what they may have to do with it. So, with that being said, we'll move right along. This target right here behind me had a total of 30 shots fired at it. The shots were fired just as quickly as I could get the nose of the pistol back on target. There was a little bit of duress. It was hot, had been sweating, had been moving back and forth, did a few Afghan jumping jacks. And so it wasn't like we were fresh as a daisy in a climate-controlled building and had just, there was a little bit of fatigue from being out in the heat and everything else, but in real life, if you find yourself in this kind of situation, you're probably going to have a little bit of something going on that's going to make for less than ideal conditions also. So just keep that in mind. So a real quick rundown of what we did was I took 3 Micro-9 pistols that I have in my possession, which was the Ruger Max 9. Show clear here. The SIG P365, again clear, and the Taurus GX4. I loaded each of them with 10 rounds of 115 grain ball ammo, stretched out the distance as far as I could, set to shooting, and this is what we came up with. One other thing that I forgot to mention earlier, I normally make a point to bring it up, but I'll say it now, is we are live on location here where life happens, so please bear with any background noise that you may hear. Getting back to where we were at a minute ago, Ruger Max 9 represented here on our Dicken Drill target by the blue dots. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hits on target, 9 on paper. I don't know where the last one went. I'm thinking with as low as this group was, it may have gone off the bottom. But who knows? I'm not sure, and it really doesn't matter because it's not on target. That being said, we did our very best to get all of those shots in well under our 15-second time constraint. Moving on to our yellow dots that are represented here by our SIG P365. Prior to putting shots on paper here, I was shooting at a 12-inch steel clanger with the P365 at 25 yards, and we were hitting about 3/4 of the time rapid fire there as well. So I'm very comfortable with this gun. I carry it quite a bit, but I noticed something here as represented with these yellow circles, and that is, while we have 7 really well placed shots up here with the 365, I have 1, 2, 3 that I pulled, and a lot of that has to do with the trigger reset on this pistol. For me, it's just, if you look here, let me drop the slide there so that you can see the profile of the pistol a little better. My hand is just a little too big for this gun. I have a tendency to overdo my finger placement on the trigger, and that's very evident here with me pulling those shots. So moving on to our Taurus GX4, represented here not only by my hat and shirt, but also by the red dots on paper. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hits on target. All 10 hits are on paper, albeit it's not the best group, but out of all of them, I did feel the most comfortable with this one. Am I comfortable utilizing a pistol like one of these Micro-9 pistols to engage a potential threat at a distance in excess of 25 yards, especially if there's collateral damage around? It's one thing if it's a lone bad guy against a brick wall. It's something completely different if you're, in a crowd of people. I'm not the most comfortable with that. I don't think a Micro-9 pistol is the best choice for making a long-range engagement on somebody. And, I mean, that could be mitigated by a number of factors if you had the opportunity, you close the distance or whatever. But I think realistically, if you were going to carry a pistol in a situation where you may have to make an extended engagement, then you might want to consider a larger pistol. An example that I'll bring out here, and I believe, I'm not sure about this, but I heard that this was actually the pistol from the incident involving Mr. Dicken. Show clear here, folks. This is a Glock 19, nothing special. This is a Gen 5. This one is identical to the one that I carry at work, and this is just a really good and comfortable platform for making an engagement just a little further than that one. I've got some footage here I'll try to show where we were fairly successful in engaging a 50-yard steel target, and our hit probability was pretty good with that. Another pistol that I took with me that I had really good shot placement with, no surprise, was the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0, showing clear here. 5-inch barrel, 40 caliber pistol, so the recoil's a little bit more with this one, but in such a big pistol, very manageable. And just that long sight picture really lends itself to accurate shot placement. Had very little issue making our hits on a 12-inch steel plate with this pistol.
Good.
I want to go to Demolition Ranch.
I also took with me what I consider to be my favorite pistol, my Glock 19X, and with the exception of a little bit of dyslexia, was able to run the steel plate rack, no issues with that one. So what do we take away from this? I'm sure there are some of you out there that are better suited to this kind of thing and could achieve better results at this kind of thing than I can, and I applaud you for your efforts. I ask that you would continue to own those skills. For the rest of us that still need a little bit of improvement, know your limitations. Know that, like, hey, I really like that little Micro-9 pistol and I like carrying it home from work in case somebody tries to mug me on my way from the ATM or whatever, but understand it might not be the best choice for engaging in a crowd at distance. You know, you might want something where you could cut your potential for collateral down significantly. An example I'll give you is the gun I carry when I'm serving in the capacity of an usher at my church is my Walther PDP, because I have practiced with it at length, at distance, and am more comfortable making those shots with a pistol of that size. So, you know, those are just things to think about. I'd love to hear you share with me on this in the comments section down below. So take a minute to like the video, leave a comment, consider subscribing, and help me to defeat the algorithm that suppresses this kind of content. So until next time, folks, take care. God bless.